There is a housing crisis in BC and short-term rentals are to blame. According to the BC government, they are anyways. We're going to talk all about this new proposed legislation, and we're starting now. I'm Lisa Salt with RE/MAX Vernon Salt Fowler, and today we're going to take an in-depth look at what is currently called the Short-Term Rental Accommodations Act. This is the legislation that was proposed on October 16th, 2023 to supposedly solve our provincial housing crisis. The idea is that if short-term rentals in the province are eliminated, then all those properties will then flow back into the marketplace, and all those who at present don't have a place to live will have one, and all will be well with the world. According to the province, it's a supply issue. Homeowners are taking the rental supply off the market to do these short-term rentals, thereby causing families and other folks to not have anywhere to live. I'm not here to give you my opinion on the subject today, although I definitely do have one. However, I'm really only here to report on this legislation, what it says, and how it may affect the real estate market in Vernon and the North Okanagan. Let's start by looking at the definition of short-term rentals. Short-term rentals are considered to be accommodations provided to members of the public in a host's property in exchange for money for a period of less than 90 consecutive days. 90 days, that's pretty severe. Most times when you talk about short-term rentals, it's defined as a period of less than 30 days. Maybe this is the case of starting here and then negotiating it back to here, maybe from 90 days to 30 days when everyone freaks out. I don't know. That's speculation at this point. One point to note is not all types of properties are included. If you have a house that is your principal residence that you actively live in full time and you want to rent out a suite or a room or a carriage house on your property, that's okay. You can do that. What you can't do is if you have a separate dwelling unit that is not your principal residence, you can't rent that out for less than 90 days for money. For anyone currently renting short-term in a property that is not their principal residence, well, those properties would then, according to the regulation, need to be converted to long-term rental or sold. And I'll get to the second point in a moment. However, before I do, please remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel as we're posting new videos like this every single week. On this channel, we give you the straight goods on Vernon and the whole North Okanagan, our ultimate four seasons paradise. Whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days or just curious about the area that we call home, be sure to call, text, or email and just add salt. The second thing is that not every city is affected. Only those with a population of 10,000 people or more, or if you're close to one of those cities, which here, of course, would include the city of Vernon and the municipality of Coldstream, not other places in the North Okanagan at this point, such as Lumby or Armstrong or Enderby, Falkland, etc., which are the smaller population bases. Now, if your city that you live in doesn't meet the 10,000 population, your city can opt in, although I have no idea why a city would want to do that. However, also if your vacancy rate is high enough, your city could opt out. However, there's no mention at this point of what that vacancy rate would have to be in order for you or for your city to be able to opt out. Some nearby tourist towns that are excluded as examples are Revelstoke and Osoyoos. There are other exceptions, of course, which include reserve lands, treaty lands of a Treaty First Nations, and motels and hotels. Now, you have to note at this point, there's no exclusion for places like Predator Ridge, Silver Star, the Outback, the Strand, all these places that are at this point zoned for nightly rental according to the municipality, but they're not considered a hotel or motel. The province is talking about exempting ski hills. I'm sure that will happen, and other touristy type places. So maybe these developments will end up being exempt. We just aren't sure yet. They should be. I mean, they were literally built to be short-term rental properties. Another thing to mention, in Vernon, right now, you don't need a business license to operate a short-term rental. However, under this legislation, you would have to have a license and you would have to prove that this rental is your principal residence in order to get a license, which currently, like I say, you don't even need a license for a short-term rental in Vernon. And now what happens if you break the rules? They dealt with this first, actually. That has already been implemented. Fines increase for hosts breaking the municipal bylaw rules to $3,000 per infraction per day versus $1,000 per day. Ouch. That seems excessive to me. And how will the government keep track of all these places? How are they gonna do this? How will this all be monitored? The answer to that is next summer, short-term rental platforms will have to share data with the province, and a provincial registry for platforms will be mandatory by late 2024. So if you try to list your home on one of these platforms like Airbnb or VRBO, etc., without a license, you will get busted due to the shared information policy. So much for privacy, people. The good news for us in Vernon is that Vernon City Council is generally not in favor of the proposed regulations, especially for lakefront homes, as the council knows that what will turn into an unavailability of short-term rental accommodations will tank tourism, and that will then affect our local businesses, then those who work at our local businesses, etc. These regulations, as written, definitely will hurt the Okanagan economy. Many businesses only thrive due to the income they make throughout the summer months. And let's face it, full families are not going to go and stay in a hotel for their vacation. Vernon doesn't even have any lakefront hotels, and they aren't going to go and stay in someone's basement suite. Plus, we don't even have that many hotels. These families will literally just spend their vacation dollars elsewhere, and our tourism industry, which is one of our biggest industries, will not fare well. There are a number of petitions going around and municipality backlash, so we will see what this regulation actually looks like when we get to 2024. Right now it's just proposed, although like I say, the fines are already in place. If you're not in favor of these short-term rentals, make sure to write to your MLA and pass along your thoughts. The link and the information for our local MLA is below in the comments. Stay tuned for more info as we go along. I will be sure to keep you updated on this one.
Just add some.